Hello and welcome to watching this video. In this video, I want to show you everything in Cinema 4D, such as animation, motion tracker, MoGraph, character, and everything in Cinema 4D. I will teach you in this video. Okay, first I want to show you what are these options. With first option, if you click and hold it, as you can see, you can change your camera in X and Y. Next option, you can change your camera in Z axis. As you can see, it changed it Z. And with this option, you can rotate around your camera. Very good. Now I want to show you how you can create an object in Cinema 4D. For create an object, you can use this group. If you click and hold, you can see these objects. Okay, first object is null. I will teach what is null, and now I want to teach you what is cube. Click this cube. As you can see, Cinema 4D is create cube, and with these three options you can change your camera and see all things in Cinema 4D. Very good. When you create a new object in Cinema 4D, as you can see, it create a layer in objects panel, and you can see properties of that layer in attributes panel. Here you can see that object. Here you can see property of that object. Okay, first I want show you how you can change size of this cube. First, you can click this little cube. If you click and drag, as you can see, it change in Y axis. And if you click this cube, little cube, you can change size of cube in Z. And with this, you can change size of X. Or you can change it from here. You can click and enter your number, or you can change from here. For example, X, Y, and Z. Very good. And if you want to change position of this model, you can select this blue or this green or this red, and then that will be white. You can click and change position, or you can click here or here and change in all axes. Very good. Or if you want to rotate your object, you can click here, rotate, and with this you can rotate from Y or Z or X, or you can rotate it. Okay, now for change size, you can click this option and then change size of your object. And if you want change position, click move and change your position. Okay, so I want to show you other property of this cube. Again, click this cube and you can see that property. As you can see, we have 3 segments in X, in Y, and in Z. If you change these segments, for example 2, 3, 4, you can see that result in this cube. For example, if you want to see this segment, you should go to display and click shading line, and as you can see this segment. For example, this is 4, 1, 2, 3 through line with 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 segment. Okay, or you can change in Y 3 or 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, or you can change in segment in Z 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, now and next option I want to show you is fillet. Now if you turn on fillet, as you can see, it smooth this edge, and with fillet radius you can change this radius, and with subdivision, fillet subdivision, you can change segment of this fillet. Okay, now I want animate this cube. For animate this cube, first you should click insert. I want, for example, change in Z, just in Z. For do that, first click your cube and then click that option you want animation. For example, I want change position with position animation. Okay, first I click, for example, size in Z. As you can see, 3 of that is yellow. For example, if you click segment, that is yellow and you can animate that, or if you click fillet, you can animate that. But now just I want animate it in this position. For do that, click size of each of that and then click this option, record active object. Okay, when you click this, as you can see here, insert a keyframe. Now change indicator, for example, to 10 frame and then move it. Here you should again click record active object. Now as you can see, it creates a line and here it creates a keyframe. And now if you change your indicator, as you can see, it animates this object from 0 frame to 10 frame. In default, you can change this indicator from 0 to 90 frame. But if you want more frame, you can click here and insert your frame you want. For example, 900, and then click outer and change this. Now as you can see, we have 900 frame and we can animate with 900. Okay, now 90 is good. For example, from 0 to 10 frame, it just move in position. When you change your object, you should insert keyframe and then change indicator, change object, insert keyframe. Again, change indicator, change object, insert keyframe. Now, if you play it, as you can see, it animates exactly that I want. Okay, now I want to teach you another object. For example, other object is cone. If you click, as you can see, it create cone here, and we can see that properties. Okay, first is a top radius. If you change that, as you can see, we can change top radius. And with bottom radius, you can change bottom of this cone. And with height, you can change in height. And with high segment, you can change segment of high or segment in rotation. And what is orientation? Orientation is a property that you want change rotation from, for example, X, Y, and Z, plus X or minus X. For example, if you click plus X, as you can see, it is in direction of X. Or for example, if you click minus X, it's reverse of X. Or you can change it to Z, or minus Z, or Y and minus Y. Okay, first I want plus Y, and we have another tabs. It's caps. What is caps? If you turn off these caps, as you can see, inside of this cone is empty. But if you turn on this checkbox, inside of that is full. And we can change cap segments. You can see this segment. And with these two checkbox, you can fillet this object. For example, if you turn on this checkbox, as you can see, this edge is fillet, and you can change fillet from there. And if you turn on this checkbox up top from here, and change, if you in top radius change it, you can see this fillet better. Caps and change, you can see it's fillet. And with this you can change height of that. Okay, we have another option is a slice. if you click and turn on this slice, as you can see, we have just half of that object. And with from, you can start off that to end, or with this you can change from end. And now if you click regular grid, as you can see, inside of that you can see this segment, and we can change it from with option. Very good. I wanted to teach another object. It's cylinder. Cylinder is, you can change high, reduce, high, or high segment. Everything is like this cone in caps or slice. Okay, we have go to another object. It is sphere. If you click it, you can see this sphere object. With radius, you can change radius of that, and with segment, you can change segment of this sphere. And with type, we can change type of this segment. For example, this is a standard. You can change it to tetrahedron, or you can change it to hexahedron. You can choose every type that you want. And this is done. Go to another object. It's polygon. Polygon is a simple polygon, as you can see, just polygon, and width. You can change width, height, and segments of that. Okay, other object, click and change it. Other object is disk. If you click it, as you can see, just we have a disk. This property exactly like another object. For example, slice, or in object you can change, turn off it. You can change inner, radius, or outer, or this segment, or rotation segment. You can change all of that. Okay, go ahead and click and hold it, and for example, click truss. If you click it, as you can see, we have a truss. I click this model and click delete. Now click this object. In ring radius, you can change radius of ring, and in ring segment you can change segment of this ring. And with pipe radius, as you can see, you can change size of pipe, and you can change pipe segment. Orientation is like another, and here you can turn on this slide exactly like previous models. Okay, click and delete it, and then go to Other is capsule. If you click it, it like capsule, and you can with radius change radius of that, and or you can change high segment. It's like another object. Or cap segment, you can change segment of this, and with rotation you can change segment of that, and it has slice too. Okay, now delete it and click oil tank, and in radius and high and segment everything like another object. Okay, click and delete. Or we have a tube. In tube it's like another object. You can change radius, inner, outer, rotation, cap, and everything you can change. Or you can change fillet too. And here pyramid, as you can see, we have pyramid, and you can change size from X, Y, and Z. Now go to platonic. In platonic you can change size and segment, and you can select your type, for example hexa, octa, or dodeca, and everything you can click it. Okay, and in radius you can change size, and in segment you can change segment of that. Okay, now, or you can click figure. It's a simple figure, and just you can change height and segment. It's very easy. Click and delete. Or in landscape, it's a very good object in Cinema 4D. You can use it for mountain and island and everything like mountain and island you can create with this object. In size you can change size it from X and Y and Z, and with width segment you can change segment of width, and you can change depth of that, or you can change rod furrow, as you can see here. Or with this you can change smoother with 0 and with 100. It's hard. Okay, and with scale you can change a scale of this object, or sea level. If you change it and increase it, as you can see, it like to island. And with split level you can change level of this, or you can change seed. If you turn on spheral, as you can see, it changed to spheral. Okay, delete it and go to object and click relief. What is relief? Relief use a texture and change your texture two objects. For example, click this option and then click your picture that you want to create 3D from that. For example, I want click this picture and double click, and here it say if you want copy this picture near your file. Now I don't need it and click no. Okay, as you can see, this set in my layer relief. And if you change with segment or depth segment, you can see change segment, and bottom level you can change bottom, and with top level you can see this top level. And if you change this type level, you can see it's more like that picture. For example, it says happy birthday. Okay, now I want to teach you what these options in line. Okay, for do that, first adjust your camera and then go here. First is pen. If you click it and then draw, as you can see, you can draw in 2D. If you click here, as you can see, it create a path for us. Okay, and 2 is sketch. If you click it, you should hold your left click and then draw your line. As you can see, it draw this line. And next option is spline smooth. For example, this line is have many hardness in edge. With this option, if you click, as you can see, you can smooth your line. It's very useful in your projects. Great. And next option is arc tool. If you click it, first delete this tool, and then if you click arc tool and then click and drag, as you can see, you can draw line to arc or create a circle. For example, if you click here, as you can see, you can change circle or arc. Okay, if you click here, you can continue and create a new line. It's very easy. And if you want to close this line, you should press escape. Okay, as you can see, it's dropped it. Okay, delete this spline When you click, you can see many line here. For example, if you click arc, we can choose your type. For example, arc, sector, segment, ring. For example, sector or segment or ring. And here you can change radius, inner radius, start angle, and other thing like this object model. Okay, and for example, you can use formula. If you click this formula here, this line is changed. For example, if you copy this code and paste in Z, as you can see, it changed to here. Okay, or for example, change this sinus to cosinus. As you can see, it changed this line with formula. Or you can click, for example, vectorize. If you click vectorize, it's exactly like relief in object, just it create 2D object for us. For example, if you click that happy birthday and set no, as you can see, it's create like that picture for us. It's very good. Okay, this line is very easy to use. For example, if you click inside and change radius, and here you can change offside. For example, I have this line and I choose another line, and for example, this circle is good, and change radius, click here and change position. Now go to this line option. As you can see, we have 5 options here. What's that? First is spline subtract. If you click here, as you can see, subtract that inside from that circle. If you press Ctrl Z, as you can see, exactly extract this. Now go to spline union. As you can see, it's union these 2 lines and it create a new layer here. Okay, press Ctrl Z. You can click spline and if you click it, it joins up 2 lines, and then again Ctrl Z. You can click here spline or it's community of these 2 paths. Press Ctrl Z and go to it and click spline intersect, and as you can see, it's like of previous, just it line. If you change it, as you can see, it's create another with these 2 line. Okay, click here and delete this. Now go to another options. Here we have many options and I wanna teach all things. Okay, first extrude. What is that? For it I want to tell you we have create text in Cinema 4D. If you click that, as you can see, we have text. Here you can type your text, for example VFXRZ, and with high you can change that size, and here you can choose your font, for example this font or this font, and here you can change horizontal spacing or vertical spacing. Vertical spacing for when we are using multi-line. Okay, now click here and click extrude. After that you should click this text and go to under group of extrude. After that, as you can see, that extrude of my 2D line. Or you can, for example, click this cogwheel and then click here and create extrude and under group of extrude. As you can see, it extrude of this line. Okay, if you click this extrude, as you can see here, we have multi option. First is movement. If here increase this number, as you can see, it increase in Z. Here you can increase your Y or in X. You can change it. And here you can change subdivision, segment of this, or segment of ISO subdivision. Okay, and we have another tabs, it named caps. What's that? In start, if you click this pop-up and then click fillet, as you can see in start, it's fillet, and we can see inside of my extrude. But if you click here and click fillet cap, it's fillet and you can't see inside of your extrude. And with a step you can increase your segment of fillet, and with radius you can change the scale of this fillet. And here you can change it like a start, it end. For example, if you click fillet, as you can see, just fillet in end. We have it in start, but in end we don't have it. Okay, now in fillet type you can change that fillet, for example convex, linear, or half circle. As we can see, we can change anything in this option. For example, 1 step, 2 step, this option is very useful. And now delete all of this and click delete. Now for example create arc. Now press Ctrl in your keyboard and then click axis in Z and change position. As you can see, it creates a copy of this object. If you press copy of any object and then change position, it creates automatically a copy of that object. Okay, now go here and click left, and if you select these two line and then under group of this left, as you can see, it creates object from these two line. For example, you can create circle and then change radius. Now you can ungroup in left. As you can see, this link 3 line with him. For example, if you change that, all thing is changed. Or if you change it to here, change, or you can change it here, all thing it change. Okay, now if you for example click here and create an object and then put segment in x10, 10 and 10 and then go to subdivision surface and this cube under group subdivision surface, as you can see, it smooth my object. And if you click here, you can change this subdivision editor. I will teach you when we use this subdivision surface. Okay, click here and done. Now go to this option and click lathe. What's that? The lathe object rotates a spline about the y axis of the logical axis system of the generator object to generate a surface of revolution. For example, if you have this arc and then under group of this lathe, as you can see, it's rotate from a start to end of this. For example, if you choose another line, for example text and just T and then under group lathe, as you can see, it create this. And if you click lathe in object, you can change this angle. You can see this T and it rotates to it. And you can change subdivision, and here you can change movement. And if you increase it and then movement, you can see this object is moved. Now if you, for example, create this subdivision surface and this group undergroup this subdivision, as you can see it's very smooth. And if you ungroup it, you can see it's very bad. But if you ungroup it subdivision, it's smooth of edge. Okay, now delete this item and then create arc and create circle. Change radius of this circle, and now go to general and click sweep. If you click sweep and select this two line and ungroup in sweep, as you can see, first path, the contour spline, defines the cross section and is swept along the second line, as you can see here. And if you change these two line, as you can see, change this object. Okay, and go to okay, next object is Bezier. If you click Bezier, as you can see here, you can change subdivision in X, Y, or grid in X and Y. What is this grid? If you click this option, point, and then change this grid, as you can see, it add this grid in X or in Y. This blue line, as you can see, it changed. And if you click, for example, this point and change position, just change from here, or click here and change it, change from that, or you can change it from here. It's very good. Or here, you can change all point from that. Okay, delete this object, and I wanna to show you what these options, array, atom array, bool, and other thing. Okay, first is array. If you click this array and then create object, for example this object, and change it to 50. Okay, it's good. And then this cube undergroup in array. As you can see, we have multiple cube here. If you click array, you can see that properties, first is radius. You can change radius of this array. And next option is copies. As you can see, we have 8 cube. One cube is reference and other cube is copy of that. As you can see, it's 7 copy of that. You can change it and increase that, for example. here you can change its radius, and you can change its amplitude from there, or change frequency. Now if you change indicator, as you can see, it animates automatically from these two options, frequency and amplitude. Or you can change array frequency from this. And if you increase frequency, for example to 100, and then play, as you can see, it's very fast. Okay, now delete this array and go to this model and click atom array, and then ungroup this cube to atom array. Okay, now as you can see, we can just see segment and point of that object. For example, if you change this segment 5, as you can see, we can see 5 segments. And if you click atom array, you can change the cylinder size or sphere, change it. And in subdivision, you can increase that subdivision. Okay, and next is bool. What's that? If you create another object, for example sphere, and change radius, okay, it's good. Bool exactly like these 5 options for lines. For example, if you click this and this, and then under group of bool, as you can see, subtract from this cube. If you change this cube, you can see it's bool from here. And if you change these two objects, as you can see, if you change this sphere, it subtract from this cube. If you click bool, as you can see, A subtract B. If you click A union B, and click sphere, as you can see, it just union these two objects. For example, if you click A intersect, as you can see, we have just this intersect. Okay, and if you click A without V, it's just like a subtract B, but inside of your object is empty. If you click a subtract, as you can see, inside is full. And now drag these two objects and out from this spool and click and delete this. Okay, we don't need a sphere. Okay, now here click meta. Metaball is a stretch over spline and object point. For example, if you drag and drop and undergroup this, as you can see, metaball, change it, and if you click metaball and then here, As you can see, you can change it like, and now click metaball and delete that, and again select metaball. Now go to line, and for example this line, and press Ctrl and click. As you can see, we have two circles. One of that I change that size, for example, is good. Now select these two lines and then drag and drop to metaball. As you can see, it creates a metaball with use this line. If you click it, you can change this metaball from hell value and editor subdivision. Okay, next group I want to teach you this group. It's very important that you can use all of these deformer object. All object here is deformer. Okay, first deformer is bend. If you click bend, as you can see, we have a line of cube here. Now I'm delete this cube and create again cube and change segment, for example X, Y and Z to 10. Now you should click your deform object, for example here is bend, and drag and drop in under cube. As you can see, your deform should be under your object. After that, click bend, and with a string, as you can see, deform my object. If you want a smoother this edge, you should click your cube and increase segment in Y. As you can see, it's smooth. And if you change it, as you can see, it's not smooth. Okay. Now click bend again, and here with angle you can change angle of this bend. Okay, drag and drop here and delete this bend. Next bend is twist. If you click twist and then drag and drop cube and change angle, as you can see, you can twist your object. And here you can change size in X, Y and Z. As you can see, it change. You can use this option just for twist. Okay, click and delete it. Next is melt. If you click this melt and drag and drop, as you can see, your object is melt. If you click melt, you can change a strain of melt, or here you can change radius of that, and here you can change vertical randomize or radial randomize, and here you can change melt size, or you can change noise scale. Okay, next deform is correction. Now if you ungroup this correction and then here click point, as you can see, we can see all point. Now I change sample segment 5, 5 and 5. Okay, now click correction and you can select your point and then change, for example, this position. Select and change. Or you can hold shift and then click multi-point and change all of them. For example, this and this and this. You can change all of them. Okay. Now delete this correction and select another and select verify. If you click this and then group with this cube, as you can see, your object like sphere, and with radius you can change this sphere, and here we can change a strain of sphere. Okay, next is spline rail, and now create, for example, these two circle. This is one of circle and change it here and press alt and copy duplicate of that. Okay, we have two object. Now click this spline rail and with Z spline click this arrow and then click this circle and in right click it and select this circle, and with reference you should select your reference object. For example, here is reference object is this cube. Click this cube and then drag and drop under group. As you can see, change your object in base of these two spline. If we change segment, as you can see, it changed like circle. And if you click it in scale, after you can change size X, Y and in Z. Okay, now delete this spline and this two circle. Okay, next deform is displacer. If you click this displacer and add it to your project and then ungroup this cube, after that you should set shading for this displacer. For do that, go to shading menu in displacer and click this icon. For example, I want to use noise for this displacement. When you click that, as you can see, if you turn around this object, you can see displacer noise in your object. And if you click displacer and in object, here you can change a strain of that, and here you can change height of that displacer. Okay, delete this displacer and add another deform. It is smoothing. For example, if you click this cube and then change it to editable. If you click this make editable or press C in your keyboard, as you can see, it changed polygons, and here you can see cube information and properties. Just you can see that polygon. Okay, now here you can select your points. As you can see, if you click, you can just select your point, or here you can select line. As you can see, you can select this line, and here you can select polygon. Okay, and if you want select multi-polygon or select multi-edge or select multi-point, you should select this option and then select your point. For example, I need this point. Okay, now change move of this point. For example, it is good. Now click here and under groups smoothing to cube. As you can see, it smooth all cube, and in a strain you can change that smoothing. And here you can change softness. For example, if you have a simple head, click it and select, for example, this here, and here select for here, and for example out this. Oh, it's too much. For example, these two, and then here okay, like face. And now smoothing under this cube. As you can see, you can smoothing that, or you can use subdivision surface, for example, for this face. Okay, next deform is smoothing bulk. If you click bulk and then under group with this cube, click bulk, and with a strain, as you can see, you can change bulk of that like this. Or you can use like this. Okay, next deform is FFD. If you click FFD and then change it to 200, for example 20, 220 is good. Okay, now under group this cube Now if you click this point and select this point and change it, as you can see, you can change your object too. You can here change this grid, for example 7x, 7y, and 7 in z, and select this point and change it. As you can see, you can deform a 50 like this. Okay, next deform is explosion. If you click explosion and under group in cube and change a strength, as you can see, your object is explode. Here you can change speed, or you can change end size. As you can see, when you change a strength to 100, you can't see anything because this end size is 0. If you change it, for example here, as you can see, when is explosion, its end size will be bigger. Okay, delete this explosion. Next deform is jiggle. Jiggle is very useful deform. You can use it in your animations. Very good deform. For use this jiggle, first click your object and here select your model and go to character menu and select paint tool. After that, draw your object you want, jiggle that. For example, I want jiggle this part of my object, and then rotate and draw here too. Very good. Okay, now under group this jiggle to this cube. Now select this move option and then go to jiggle, and in restriction tab you should drag and drop this vertex map. As you can see, when you drag and drop, it will be like this. Okay, first indicator set in 0, and then click this auto keyframe and set keyframe for this cube, and then click this cube. Now change your object, for example here, and then click to create new keyframe. Now change it, for example, to 15, and here, and again change it to 30 here, or here, or here. You can animate your cube. Okay, now when you play that, as you can see, it's very good. It's like this, jiggle like this. Okay, delete this jiggle and this vertex map, and select this keyframe and delete all of them and turn off this auto keyframe. Okay, next deform is surface. Okay, now delete this cube and, for example, create landscape, this landscape, and change size in X and Y. Okay, now here create another cube and change size of that. For example, here is good. It's okay, and change size to here. Now surface under group with this cube and click surface, and here in surface you should select your surface that you want. For example, if you click this arrow and select this landscape and then click your cube and change segment in X, for example, to 20 in X, 20 in Y, and 20 in Z. It's okay. And now in surface you should change type from projection to mapping UV. Okay, as you can see, your cube is formed like this landscape, and here you can change from U and V. Change your cube in U and V. It's very useful. Or here you can change offset of that. Very good. Delete these two and delete. Next deform is spline warp. If you click that and then ungroup this spline to this cube like this and select this cube, and okay, it's good. Okay, and delete this cube too. Now create another cube and change X, Y, and Z 10. Now in deform click spline wrap. After that, it's undergroup to your cube. Now create two line, for example this arc, and here, and press Ctrl and duplicate this to here. Okay, now click spline wrap, and in spline click this arc and rail, click this line. As you can see, it's deform my cube, and if you click spline here, you can change this strain of that, and here you can change offset, and here you can change from and to end. We can use just with spline. If you click here and clear that and change it, as you can see, it change like your line. Okay, delete this line. Okay, now next deform is formula. If you click formula and then undergroup your cube, and now play, as you can see, like this formula, it change your object. For example, if you change this sinus to cosinus and now play that, as you can see, change like it. Or you can set a formula here and see your result in your object. And here you can change this formula size in X, Y, and Z. delete this formula, and next deform is bevel. If you click bevel and ungroup to cube, and with surface you can bevel your segment in your object like this. And here you can change subdivision and change this offset. And here you can change its effect in your point or edge or polygon. If you, for example, click polygon, now it change it polygon. Or for example, you can click point and then change this. It's bevel from your point. It's look great. Okay, now delete this bevel. Next deform is share. If you click it and undergroup your cube and change strain, as you can see, it just share your object like this. Or here you can change angle. Okay, delete this, and next deform for example is mesh. Mesh is like this FFD, but you can change your object as a other object. For example, if you select this sphere and change it to here, and then undergroup this mesh to cube, and in mesh in case select your object, for example this sphere, and then click here and then click initialize. As you can see, this is new mesh, and if you change in this mesh, change this cube too. If you click this point and then click oh sorry, I forget that you should select your sphere and first make editable, and then you can change this point. As you can see, when I change this point, change my cube too. If you, for example, select this point, change it down, up, it change it too. Okay, now delete this mesh and sphere and go ahead and click next. Deform is explosion FX. It's very useful in your project. If you ungroup this with your cube, as you can see, it's explosion like this, and here you can change this point and explosion like this. You can animate that and use this explosion. If you click explosion, in explosion you can change a strain of this explosion, or you can change decay or variation of this. Okay, click explosion and delete. Next deform is, for example, warp. If you ungroup the cube and change this, as you can see, it's deformed like this form of warp. If you click warp, you can change width or height, and here you can change radius for that wrap, and here you can change this angle, for example from start to end. Okay, delete it and select deform. For example, I want to teach you what is wind. If you ungroup this your object and then play that, as you can see, it's changed like wind. And here you can change frequency and then play. As you can see, it's faster. You can use this object for flag. Okay, delete this wind. And next is a taper. If you undergroup this taper and change a strain, as you can see, you can change taper like this, and here you can change body of your object. It's very good. Click taper and delete that. Next is squash and stretch, and then undergroup this squash. Now change factor. As you can see, it's deform like this. It's very cool. And with expand you can change like this, and with center you can change center of that. For example, as you can see, center from bottom to top or middle. And with aspect you can change aspect for this deform. Okay, delete this splash, and then in deformer, next is shatter. If you click shatter and ungroup this cube, change a strain, as you can see, shatter. And here you can change position that you want shatter. For example, if you set here and change strain, as you can see, it strain like this. Okay, delete this shatter, and next is, for example, collision. If you click that and change size of this, for example, here to here, this cube is good. Now select sphere, change radius and position of that. Now from start select keyframe for that, and in 90 to here. Okay, now ungroup collision to this cube and turn off this auto keyframe first, and in collider select this sphere and select it for this. Okay, now if you play that, as you can see, it's deformed like this. Again, play that. As you can see, it's deformed like it. Okay. Delete this collision and sphere. Very good. Deform is done, and now I want to teach you what is material and how you can add material to your object. Okay. First, go to create menu and then click new material, or you can press Ctrl N. After that, as you can see, we have this material, and here you can see property of this material. And if you double click in your material, as you can see, property is open here. Okay. First property is color. If you turn on this checkbox and here click that, as you can see, you can change your color, for example, to green. And with here you can change chart for your color. Okay, for example, this color, and here you can change brightness and darker for your color, and here you can change brightness of that, and here in texture you can select texture for this material. If you want add texture here, you click this button, and after that select your file. For example, I want this picture for material, and here if you want change the location of your Cinema 4D file, you should select yes, and Cinema 4D copy your picture inside of your project file. Okay, now I click no. After that, as you can see, texture is apply, and if you want to apply your texture, your model, you should drag and drop here or drag and drop here in your object. As you can see, it's apply like this. And if you click render view, you can see render view of just this frame or this cube. Okay. Next option is diffusion. If you turn on this checkbox, you can diffuse your object. For example, if you select another texture, for example this texture, click no, as you can see it diffuse texture like this. And here you can change brightness of this, and with mix strength you can apply that mix of your diffusion. It's very good. Next option is luminance. First turn off this diffusion and turn on this checkbox of luminance. As you can see, it's like lamp. For example, I open another project, for example this project. I was created with Real Fellow and Cinema 4D. If you change camera to here, as you can see, I use this plane layer with this texture, this luminance, for best reflection of this chocolate with soft light. For example, if you render this frame, as you can see, this light here, 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 and here, you can see reflect of this luminance material. Okay, next is transparency. If you turn on transparency and increase this brightness, as you can see, it's low opacity and increase transparency. And for example, here, if you render this, as you can see, it's transparency. Here you can change that transparency. For example, change it to here and render. You can see change like this. Here you can change color and brightness and other thing, you can change that. Next option is reflection. If you turn off reflection, as you can see, it's not any reflect. If you render that, as you can see, it's not any reflect. But if you turn on this checkbox, and then you can see reflect environment. When you turn on this checkbox in add, you can that reflect you want, and then in global reflection you can change amount of reflection. For example, if you global reflection brightness, change it to 93 and render that. As you can see, it's just reflecting. Okay, next is environment. If you turn on environment, and here you should select your file you want environment that. For example, if you click and apply this sky and then render that, as you can see, it's reflect this image in environment. Okay, turn off here, and next is fog. If you turn on this checkbox, here you can change fog of this material, and when you click render, as you can see, it's fog. And if you increase this brightness, for example to 100, and then here you can see it look like fog. First is bump. If you turn on this checkbox of bump, and then here select your texture, for example this rock, as you can see, texture change like that picture. And if you render that, as you can see, it change. Here change it from here. Okay, again, as you can see, it's apply bump in your object. And when you click bump here strength, you can increase that. As you can see, when I increase that, it's like this, and when you render it, it's very good. Okay, now turn off this bump and turn on normal, and it used for low poly material. If you render that, as you can see, it changed like this. Okay, turn off. Next is glue. If you turn on glue, and here you can change inner strength or outer strength. For example, if you change inner, as you can see, inner of your material is changed, and if you increase outer of material is glowy. Okay, if you render it, click OK. As you can see, it's glue from in and out of your object. Okay, next is displacement. with displacement you can change your object. For example, if you select this rock and here change this strain, and here you can change height of this displace. Now if you render that, oops, change very much, not good. Change it to, for example, 50. Again render that. Okay, as you can see it's displaced like this, and you can use from noise. If you click this noise and then click here, you can change many options. For example, you can change global scale like this, and you can change animate or delta. When you render that, it's like this. Okay, now I want to show you how you can work with camera and work with light. Okay, now hold in camera, and in camera, as you can see, we have 6 options for camera. In this video I want just teach camera and this target camera. If you click camera, as you can see, slider camera show here, and when you rotate you can see this camera. If you want to watch your scene from this camera, you should click this option, camera object. As you can see now, we are in this camera, and if you create another camera and for example change it to here and rotate it to here, now if you want use this camera, you should click this camera object, and as you can see now we are in this camera. Okay, next is target camera. If you click target camera, we have 2 layers here. First is camera and next is camera target. Okay, click here and then click this target camera. If you click camera target, as you can see we have a target, and you can change this target, and when you rotate or when you zoom, everything is connected to this target. And if you change this target, as you can see, it will be like this. And if you want animate your camera, you should select this auto keying and then add key. After that, change indicator and then change orbit camera. And now if you change indicator, as you can see, change like this. And for example to here, change here to here, you can zoom in and rotate like this. Very good. And if you play that, as you can see, it will be like this. Okay. And when you select your camera here, you can select focal length, for example super wide, wide angle, and that focal that you want you can select from here, or super wide and with this option you can focus your object or follow that with this object. Okay, now delete this camera, and now I want to delete this light. Okay, now I want to teach you what is light. If you click this light, as you can see, we have a light like this. It's point light. As you can see, just point light. Here you can change color of this light. For example, here. Now if you render that, as you can see, everything it's like, for example, blue or red. And if you go to lens tab in glue, you can change this glue from, for example, sun 1 and change it, for example, to here, and now render this. As you can see, it's like sun. Or you can change it, for example, star, and then here, as you can see, it's like star. Okay, we have many options here. You can select that. For example, gray, it's like this. If you render that, as you can see, lens change to this option. Okay, delete that, and we have spotlight. As you can see, we have a cone like this, and here you can change that cone, and here it's like spot. And if you render that, as you can see, it's not point, just it's like spot. Okay, delete that, and here target light. With target light you can change this target, and as you can see, light is changed here. And when you click light in intensity, you can increase intensity of this light. Okay, now I want to teach you this MoGraph menu. First, new project, and now create, for example, this cube, change size to here, for example, is good. Now in MoGraph, click cloner. After that, you should underneath this cube from cloner, and then click cloner. As you can see, it's duplicate 3 cube from this cube, and if you change count of cube, change this cube to, for example, 5, it means 5 cube. If you open this pop-up in mode, we have 4 options. First, object, linear, radial, and grid array. If you click object, it duplicates this cube from another object. For example, I want this landscape, add this landscape, change it to here. Now click this cloner, and in object, click this arrow and select this landscape. Okay, as you can see, for each segment it creates a duplicate this cube. And here from distribution you can set that duplicate you want from vertex or edge or polygon. For example, if you click edge, it create from edge, and if you click polygon, it create from each polygon one cube. Okay, next is linear. Linear exactly like line, and here you can change count, and with offset you can change offset of that. And here with this option you can change position like this, or position in Y, or position in Z. Or here you can change a scale like this, or you can change a scale from Y, change a scale from Z. As you can see, when you increase that, it's like this. Or here you can rotate that. X, Y, and Z. Very good. Next is radial. If you click radial, as you can see, it duplicate like circle, and here you can change count, and here radius, you can change radius of that, and here you can change a start angle or end angle, and here you can change offset, and with offset variation you can change random offset like this. Okay, next is grid array. If you click grid array, as you can see, you have a grid of this cube, and here you can change count in X, Y, and Z, and here you can change the space from X, Y, and Z. We have another tab, it's called effectors. If you go to MoGraph menu and in effector, select for example this random, and when you click cloner, as you can see, random is added in effector tab. Okay, and if you go random, here you can change random position from X, Y, and Z, and if you turn on scale, you can change random of scale in Y, X, Y, and Z, and if you turn on this checkbox from rotation, you can change random rotation in X, Y, and Z. Okay, now delete this clone, landscape, and random. Go to MoGraph and click this matrix. If you click this matrix, it's automatic create matrix cube, and if you select this and turn off showing this cube, here you can change matrix for this cube. You can change grid in X, Y, and Z. It's like this. And with from, you can change look for this matrix, for example cube or sphere or cylinder. Okay, select matrix and delete.
And in more graph menu you can select text, more text, and here you can change your text. For example, VFXRZ. And you can change font and everything like this text I was teached you. And we have many options here, such as line, word, letter, and everything. I will teach you what's this. Okay, now I want new this project. I want to show you how you can rig character in Cinema 4D. First, from here, go to content browser. After that, go to studio folder in 3D object, humans, drag and drop male clothes. Okay, as you can see, this man is added to your project. If you click this icon, for example here, and change it, as you can see, this character is rigged. But I want to show you how you can create this rig for your character. For do that, first go to object and delete all this group. We need just this male and delete this skin. And now drag and drop here, delete this. Okay, now select all this layer and in object select connect object and delete. As you can see, now we have just a layer for all body. Okay, now you should select this parameter and delete, and select these two parameters and delete it. Okay, it's good. Now for rigging character, you should first go to character and select joint tool. And here you don't select any layer. Select here and unselect any layer, and then click this panel here, and I want go to front of this character. Click here and then zoom it. Very good. Now press Ctrl and then click and create. As you can see, it create a rig like this, and create another for neck and here for head. Very good. Now I want create for shoulder and arm and leg. For do that, first from character here again click joint tool, and here turn off this checkbox of root null, and in symmetry click draw. After that, select for example this bone, and then again press Ctrl and now draw it. As you can see, it draw from left and right, for example to here and to here. Okay, now select this and again press Ctrl and draw here and here and here. Very good. Now if you go to perspective view and rotate it, as you can see, it's rigged. But if you change that, for example if you click this and change that, as you can see, it's not affect in your body. For do that, first click root, go to edit, and then click select children. And now press Ctrl and select this head too. Okay, very good. Now go to menu character and in command select bind. Now if you change position, for example from this bone, as you can see hand is changed too, or if you click rotate, as you can see your character is rigged. And here, for example, you can change from here and here. You can change this. Very good. And with this option you can rig and animate your character. Okay, now delete all of that. I want to show you how you can track video in Cinema 4D. For do that, first go to motion tracker and then click motion tracker. After that, in footage tab, here you should select your footage. Cinema 4D don't support any format video. If you change your video to picture sequence, Cinema 4D support it better. For example, I convert my video to this picture sequence like this. Okay, select first image and then click open. And if you change indicator, as you can see, it open all picture like this. Okay, if you want track, for example, this video, you should select 2D tracker and then click auto track. After that, you should wait. This process is finished. As you can see, it's create tracker for this video like this. Okay, now if you go to construction, you can select run 3D solver and waiting for this process is finished. And now as you can see it finished, and when you change camera it create 3D track like this. Now open this motion tracker and select this camera and then go to this camera. As you can see, it create many keyframe for this. Okay, now if you add, for example, this cube and change this cube to, for example, 10 in X and 10 in Y and 10 in Z, and now change position to here. Okay, again go to camera, for example here, and now when you play that, as you can see, this cube is tracked. We have many options in motion tracker for better track camera, for example for place this cube, and I will teach how you can professional use this tracker. Okay, delete all this layer and then delete material. Okay, now I want to show you how you can change polygon. For change polygon, first, for example, if you have this cube, when you select this make editable, this cube it change to polygon. Now if you click this, as you can see, you can select that polygon. If you click this polygon and change move, as you can see, it change scale from Z or here, for example. And if you click this, you can change point, or if you click edge, you can change edge. Okay, if you want, for example, create a new path from here to here, you should right click in your cube and then click bridge. After that, you can select this line here. Okay, when you right click, we have many options here. For example, if you right click here and click iron, as you can see, it's iron like this. Okay, if you right click here, next option, for example, I want to show you, it's bevel. If you click bevel and change, as you can see, you can bevel like this, and it's very useful for your polygon. And here you can change property of bevel, or if you click that and right click, for example, you can change extrude. As you can see, you can extrude your polygon. For example, this polygon, you can click and drag top, or click drag to right. You can extrude your polygon. And next, if you right click here and click, for example, matrix, as you can see, it creates matrix of polygon, or click here and then create. As you can see, it's create like this. And here you can change a step. For example, it's 8 step. If you change that, as you can see, you can change all the step. And here you can change a scale of this, or you can change rotate like this. Okay, now delete this cube. And if you again change a table, if you don't need, for example, this polygon, you should right click this polygon and then click disconnect. After that, when you change position, it disconnect this polygon from this cube. Okay, you can delete this and use this cube. Okay, now I want to show you how you can create clouds in Cinema 4D. First, create a sphere, and then, for example, change radius to here and create, for example, this plane, and go top of this sphere. Okay, now right click in plane layer and in simulation tag click cloud, and you should convert this plane and make a table to this polygon. Okay, and now right click in sphere and in simulation tag click cloud collider. Very good. If you play that here, as you can see, It's okay. Now if you want create more soft this plane, you should create subdivision surface and undergroup this plane to here. As you can see, it's very good. Now if you play that, it's so much better. Okay, and now if you click this cloth, here you can change, for example, bounce or friction or flexion or everything. You can change it from here. For example, if you change bounce, for example, to 92 and then play that, okay, now delete all of that. Now I want to show you how you can create fire or create cloud and other thing with emitter you can create in Cinema 4D. For example, I want to create cloud. For do that, first you should in simulate and in particle click emitter. As you can see, it create emitter. When you change indicator and play that, as you can see, we have this emitter, and here you can change burst of emitter or how old for each emitter you can select here. Now in this group select environment, and then in create you should create two shader. First is a pyroclaster and next is pyroclaster volume tracer. Okay, now you should this pyroclaster add it to environment and add this pyroclaster to emitter. Now if you render view, as you can see, it create cloud here. It's very cool. And if you click this here, you can change option for this pyroclaster. For example, in globals, if you change the settings to fire and then click yes, now if you render that, create this fire. Okay, again delete these two objects and create another cube, for example. Now change segment to 100, 100, and 100, and change display to garage shading. Okay, it's very good. Now I want to show you how you can use sculpting in your project. For do that, first you should convert your cube to make editable, and then go in layout pop-up, select sculpting. Very good. Now with pool, if you click and draw, okay, now as you can see, it's exactly like ZBrush and Mudbox. You can work your object, for example, with this. You can grab or you can smooth or wax, or with knife you can cut it like this. It's a very useful option. I will record multi-tutorial for this sculpting. Very good. Now go to standard. As you can see, this object changed like this. Very good. Okay, now I want to show you how you can render your animation. It's very easy. For do that, first I import this project. Okay, and now, for example, I want render this animation. First, you should go to render setting. You should click this edit render. Here we have many groups. First is group. Here you can change width and height, or you can select this preset for film, for example 2K, 4K, or HD, HDTV, and many presets here you can select it, or you can change manually from width and height. And here you can change resolution. Here we have two options, from and to. It will render from and to. For example, 0, from 0 to 300 it will render. Okay, and in save you should select your folder that you want render that, and here in format you can select format JPEG or PNG, and for example AVI, QuickTime, you can select this format from here, and it's good. And if you want more natural your project animation, you should select global illumination and ambient occlusion. For add these two option, you should go to effect and then from here select it. For example, if I remove these two options, now if you go to effect, you can select ambient occlusion and global illumination. First, I turn off these two checkbox, and now render this. Okay, it's like this. But if you turn on these two checkbox, then click OK, as you can see, rendering is changed. And now it's so much better. Very good. After you adjust all things, when you click render to picture viewer, it starts rendering. For example, I was render this project. As you can see, it's render 300 picture sequence. And if you open that, and here if you select next, you can see that render. Okay, very good. Tutorial Cinema 4D for beginner is finished, and I will record many tutorials for Cinema 4D, and I will teach many professional projects. If you enjoyed that video, subscribe and like, and if you have a question, feel free and ask in comment. I will answer you soon. Okay, thank you for watching this video. Take care and goodbye.